Hi everyone. So thank you all for asking me about falafel. It's something I grew up watching my dad make, and I'm happy to share the recipe with you. So I start with 2 bags of chickpeas, so it would be 2 pounds, and you can buy almost any kind you want as long as it's dry and the small chickpeas. And I take the chickpeas and put it into the bowl, I would say a day and a half before I want to make it, and I soak it with water. So if I'm making falafel on a Sunday morning, I would start probably Friday night. So late afternoon to Friday evening, I'd put my 2 bags of chickpeas into a big bowl, cover it with water, and then put it maybe in the dining room or just set it aside somewhere. And it's not necessary to cover it, but you do maybe want to change the water the next day. I wouldn't change the water too much because you want to keep the flavor of the chickpeas, but change it once. That would probably do it. So you started soaking your falafel Friday night, and now it's Sunday morning, and you can drain your falafel and rinse it just a little bit. So now you've drained your falafel and you're ready to put it in the food processor. So you want to go grab a food processor and spices, which I will have in my next frame. So spices, onions, parsley. Um, let's go to the next frame. Okay, so pretty much when you start soaking your falafel, you also want to buy, I would say, 2 good bunches of parsley, de-stem them, wash them, and then wrap them in paper towel and put them in the fridge. So that way you have your parsley. So you also need onions. So I would say 3 to 4 onions, and you can just quarter them, and you're going to put them in with in the Cuisinart. So there's so much falafel that you can't do it all in one shot. So probably twice you would want to do it. Okay, so if I were to do this over again, I would have showed you the parsley, but it's the same way I do for tabbouleh too. Is I prep my parsley and wrap it in paper towel and then in a plastic bag, and then tuck it away in the fridge. So here you go. You have your falafel, you have your parsley, and you have your onion. Okay, the tomatoes in the back, that's going to go with your tahini sauce. So don't even look at that. So again, you're processing, you're blending your soaked falafel, your onions, and your clean and prepared parsley. You process, so you're going to process the 3 ingredients together, the falafel again, the parsley, and the onions, and you probably would want to do it in 2 shots since the food processor is only so big. When you're finished, you can put all the content into that bowl, that same bowl if you want. Okay, so now you're ready for the spices that you can add. So you have your baking powder and your baking soda. So probably a tablespoon of baking powder, 2 baking soda. Salt, you want to just go over it with salt, maybe, I don't know, a tablespoon or 2. You have your cumin, a good tablespoon, maybe 3 or 4. Allspice, maybe 2 tablespoons, and crushed red pepper to taste. Okay, so when you mix it, now it's all going to depend on you, what you like. You can put in garlic. You could have put in fresh garlic also, so maybe a tablespoon of garlic or maybe 4 cloves of fresh garlic within the food processor. Red pepper, not necessary, but put it in to taste. Salt, I would say I do at least 3 tablespoons, maybe 4 if you're using a double recipe. Let's see, cumin and allspice. I would say maybe allspice a tablespoon and 4 of cumin. And then it's very important that you use baking powder and baking soda. So baking powder, not quite a tablespoon, and baking soda, maybe 2. Okay. Again, the spices to taste, you need the baking powder, the baking soda, the salt, allspice, cumin, and well, garlic, and also red pepper. Once it's mixed, we can go to the next frame and start frying. I like to use a cookie scooper. I mean, you can go to Bed Bath & Beyond and get one, or you can do whatever you want, but it'll kind of make them small and uniform. So you want to grab one, you have your hot oil in the pan, and you're ready. Don't always come out the best. So if you're having company, maybe you want to make 3 or 4 ahead and use them to try, and then you can start. So you want to use that cookie scooper and form them in your hands. When the oil's hot, you put it in, you turn it, and then when you drain it and it comes out, you're going to need to use salt. I specifically remember my dad with lots of salt. And he also would say, the more bettunas, the more parsley, the more delicious. And I guess it's more Egyptian to use parsley. But again, it's a recipe that my dad had, that he made up himself, and that I grew up watching him make. And now I'm happy that I can make that for my family. Thank you.